Well, we are so lucky to be right here with Big Jay McNeely. He's going to be taking the stage tonight. Beautiful downtown Burbank. How are you tonight, sir?
Oh man, I'm feeling good. Old man, 87 plus, be 88 in April if I live that long.
Well, music keeps you young, and you certainly keep us young. Hearing that saxophone last night on the air, made me relive some great memories. How about the earliest days that you remember music? When did it start touching your life? What's the earliest music you remember?
Well, when I was in grammar school, I used to play like for little events that we would have, and I would have my brother teach me a song, and because he played saxophone too, and I would play it, and I would really wasn't that interested. I'd play it, but I wasn't that interested then until I got a job at Firestone Rubber Company. I was 16 years old. And the first 4 hours were cool, but I said, man, there has to be a better way to make a living, and that's when I got serious. And I rode a bike uptown and got my brother's Alto that our cousin had given us. And that's when I started, got real serious about trying to learn how to play the saxophone.
And around that time, what music were you listening to that kind of inspired you or sparked your music?
Oh, I like jazz. I was listening to Charlie Parker, Don Byers, Lucky Thompson, Ben Webster, Coleman Hawkins, Lester Young, Dexter Gordon, all the guys, Wardell Gray and Gene Almond and Eddie Lockjaw Davis. All the cats was monsters, great players.
And how did you start developing your style? Because obviously you created, your sound and your energy. Where did that come from?
Well, I studied from Joseph Catalan. He played first chair at RKO Studio, and it changed my whole concept of music. I had to learn how to breathe, learn how to play with the non-pressure armature that gives you that great big sound. And I studied with him for about a year, and I become very legit. And one day a kid named Prince Stanton said, "You want to record?" And I said, "Yeah." I didn't know what I was going to record. So a kid had a record shop in Watts, and he gave me a record with Glenn Miller with the drum. And so what I did, after the whole year studying, I just played soul. And I came up with Deacon's Harp, and that was a big hit. And then after that, that's the only way they would record me, is with the honk and the scream. So my brother and I, we studied together, and so we started developing the different honking and the screaming, which a lot of guys condemn. They say I'm only playing one note, but it's not how many notes you play, it's how you play the notes. Sometimes we'd have vibrato, no vibrato, or certain notes and certain range of your instrument would create excitement. So I learned that over the years, and then I paid a guy $500 when my manager was in Hollywood, said I had to be staged. Like, when you played Vegas, you had to be staged. So he came and caught me for about a whole week, and he taught me so many things. Like I used to lay on the floor and take off my coat, lay on the floor, and go pick it up. He said, "Don't do that, man, because you're a king," And he taught me how to program people. And at that time, I wasn't trying to sing, but it was great because when I opened up in Birdland in New York, I opened up with Earl Garner, headliner, Ben Webster, and Modern Jazz Group. I was only 25, man, But this guy taught me, I just played the same thing. And by me being with GAC, I was able to work Birdland and Providence, Rhode Island, the celebrity clubs. See, when you're with certain agents, you can work certain places, and then you don't work it. So like all the guys that played the Chitlin circuit, when they played the Apollo, that was it. But I played the Apollo, I'd go into Birdland. I was in there with Sarah, Diz, all the big acts that I played there with. And at the bandbox, I played with Cap Calloway, And so then we played Atlantic City, Wildwood, New Jersey, Providence, Rhode Island, because this was the circuit that the GAC had.
And what were your greatest memories, thinking back of those days? Obviously we all look back with, just great memories of hearing that music, but being in the middle of it, what was your greatest memory?
Well, the thing that really created me laying on the floor, it was amazing. I had a real good swinging band and a good singer. And we worked in a little town called Clarksville, Tennessee. upstairs. It's so small you didn't have to have the address. They mail a letter. But anyway, played, we walked around and nobody responded. They just looked at us, say, well, what you gonna do next? So then after intermission, I was trying to figure out what I could do. So then I watched through the crowd. I got on my knees, nothing happened. I laid on the floor, bam, they went crazy. So from then on, just that's what created. I got to Fort Worth, Texas. Then when I got to Los Angeles, then history now.
Wow, amazing. Now you obviously predated, what came, with rock and roll with Little Richard and Chuck Berry and Jerry Lee Lewis and Fats Domino and all of that. What was that like when that started coming about?
Well, I was playing like 5,000 or 6,000 white kids in Los Angeles. I should have bought the book that Willoughby had with all those beautiful pictures from the Olympic Auditorium that we was there. And they know, because I would do Ray Anthony and K-Star in San Diego, and I broke up Johnny Ray's session. But they didn't know that I was playing these kids. So they would come around and take pictures. They didn't know if the kids was on drugs. They didn't know what was going on because they were responding to my music. And they barred me out of Los Angeles. I couldn't play in Los Angeles. So they wouldn't give me a permit. And like Myers in New York that loves me, he wrote the article. And if you go in the Wall Street Journal, it says that he wrote a powerful article, said that rock and roll has no respect for Big J. Powerful article. And a lot of guys who are in there saw me and admired me. They in rock and roll, but I'm not in there. And it's because at that time it was just too early. They weren't ready. Because even Nat King Cole couldn't have a sitcom, or Sammy Davis Jr. couldn't have one. And all the artists was willing to go there and help him. But now it's different, So I was waiting. I was in 1952 yearbook. I was in all the big magazines and everything. But I was the wrong. They put it short. I was the wrong colors. That was it. So, but now it's different. Doesn't matter what color you are now. But then it was too early.
Sure. I mean, seeing that change, seeing, like I say, more rock and roll come into what was happening and cross on over and all that. What was that like to see kind of the acceptance of your music, with everybody?
Yeah, well, it's really great because when I go to Europe, I'm on Rockabilly Festival. I'm only black on the whole festival, because they love everything up-tempo, grooving and fast, and that's what I give them, exactly. One play somewhere else, you're able to do various things, a little funk or, stuff like that. But and the Rockabilly Festival, they went, just like I was in France, and we did one in France, in Paris, and then we did one in France, and Wanda Jackson, she closed on Sunday night, and I closed Saturday night. In fact, I recorded this tribute to Johnny White, and I did I'm All Shook Up, I'm on that one there. So, I can see, like I'll be 87. I'm 87 now, I'll be 88 in April, But I can see over the years how a lot of people they're bringing into the rock and roll, and a lot of people feel like I should be in there. I was in the rhythm and blues when Etta James was there, and I was also inducted in the Blues Hall of Fame, but not the rock and roll yet.
We definitely want to right that wrong and make sure everyone knows your contributions, to this music. Now, who were some of the great talents that you saw over the years that, out of so many artists over so many decades that really stood out to you as being just really the most gifted?
Oh, I thought James Brown was just incredible. I worked with him, and Willie John was great. Little Richard, I was on the top 10 review with had Little Richard, Etta James, had Joe Turner, Bill Dog at the Five Keys, the Moon Glows. We all traveled through what you call the children's circuit. And the little thing I had, the little Sonny Warner that we did There's Something on Your Mind. He was from Falls Church, Virginia. Loved Ray Charles, but he was very gospel, he was a gospel singer. There's so many acts that are just incredible, like the Motown, that whole series of Motown. and then Stack Records, you know, all them. You know, so many great artists throughout the years.
I know the business has changed so much, and you've seen the so many different formats and radio and everything change, but the thing that remains the same is people like to be entertained. They like to be moved, by an entertainer, and you've certainly done that for us. We love everything you've done, and to keep that spirit alive and pass that baton. Who are some of the artists out there today in the last decade or two that still remind you of great talent?
Well, like B.B. King, always great blues, Buddy Guy, and I worked with James Cotton at the Playboy Jazz Festival. And Muscle White, I worked with him on the road, and a lot of different artists is just really great, When I was in Australia, I worked with a kid named Adam Hall, that had a really groovy band. And Chris Ronneberger out of Germany, I worked with him. We got an album together called Blues of Daybreak. And there's so many different artists that are around. It's incredible, man.
Yeah. Well, when you see those, young artists like the Rolling Stones and the Led Zeppelins and the Michael Jackson, everybody take a piece of James Brown and take a piece of the blues guys and what you did, do you see that as a compliment? Do you see that they're really trying to make something out of what they were inspired by?
Yeah, this is like in '87, the first time they ever had blues on the Grammys. I have the highlights with me tonight. They had B.B. King, Albert King, Robert Craig, Coco Taylor, Willie Dixon, Etta James, myself, and it was incredible. I have one. I'll give you one of them. It's like then I had Where My Horn Changes Color for BBC. And then in Australia, I sat on Tom Cruise lap in Australia. We're doing All That Wine Is Gone,
That's incredible. Now, all that you've been through and seen, what advice do you give to those young players, the young bands, the young singers, the people that really want to do it today? What do they need to concentrate on to have a shot?
Well, it all depends if you're a singer, if you could get to a good teacher to learn how to breathe correctly and how to project your voice. There's certain things that you learn from like an opera singer, things you can do when you sing many octaves and don't lose your voice. And young guys that want to play their horn and just have to figure out what you can do best and just hang on in there, and listen to different people and you get different ideas.
So grow your roots, listen to a lot of different things, but don't be afraid to take chances to really find your own style.
Oh yeah, you have to find your own style. You have to be yourself. You can't because I know like when I was coming up playing jazz, a lot of guys love Charlie Parker, and they say blow Parker. No, you want yourself. Yeah. And so when I play, they can say that's Big J, or whenever you play, that you say that's you. Not somebody else.
Well, we thank you so much for your time. Can't wait to see you take this stage, and it's still rocking, man. Thank you so much, Big J.
All right, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.